Hey, what's up everybody? I'm going to challenge myself to do a short video. Let's get into it. I gotta talk really fast because I gotta get all the information out. Let's start with XRP. Okay, so here we have XRP. It looks primed as ever. I really believe that this thing is ready to break out at some point in the not too distant future. So my question here is, how does this translate to the other alts? Because, I mean, really, this is exactly what we wanted to see. And what I mean by that is we have, I'm going to present two ideas. So one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, we have a B, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a C, we have a 1, we have a 2, we have an A, B, C. We know that. I've talked about that many times. But the most important thing here is right here. So we broke out with a very big impulse, and then we came back down and we sort of back tested the bull market support band. We came back up, kind of made a little base here, and now we're starting to curl back up. So I want to actually take something back. I said that the settlement ruling came in at a horrible time, but now, kind of like looking forward, I kind of disagree now. I think it actually happened at a really good time. It happened during this wave 1, wave 2 situation. So what I'm thinking here is going to happen is I'm going to go right back to that, but I want to show you on the Theta chart here. So before I do that, in order to understand what I'm about to tell you in Theta, I need to show you this XRP sort of fractal here. So basically what we had here in XRP is an A, we had a B, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 C. So we had an A, B, C. And if you count the waves, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So on the seventh wave, we had divergence, we had a big sell-off, and that's when we broke below the bull market support band. So I'm going to translate that to Theta. But before I do that, look at this. What happened after that? We bottomed out here. We came up in 3, right? We came up in 3, and then what did we do? We're flagging out, down, depressing, right? It's exciting right now. Everything feels exciting. It's pumping to the upside, but I don't think it's going to be, it's probably going to be short-lived because it's a wave 1. Wave 1s are, a little bit exciting, but a wave 2 can be very, very, on edge, like nail biting, because you don't really know if it's going to be a wave 2 or if we're going to have another bottom. A lot of times wave 2s like to retrace a lot of wave 1, but if we can get something like this, and that's why we want these bounces to be as high as possible, like MATIC, pretty high bounce, right? So let's get up here, and then we flag out, and then what do? We explode to the upside, and that would make a little bit of sense, right? And I'm going to explain that in a minute too. But yeah, so after that, we get back up here, we bounce along the bull market support band, and then we continue higher. So Theta. Okay, so now we're looking at Theta here. Same exact thing. This is a double zigzag here, but we still have the same thing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So this is the same kind of thing like XRP did. Same kind of thing, right? We broke below the bull market support band. We came up, came above it, got rejected, came back down, had that final flush. There's your, I believe there's some divergence there. And then what do? We're doing exactly what we're doing with XRP. So here's the bull market support band. It's starting to come down. We're going to come up, maybe pull back a little bit more, maybe come back up a little bit, and we're going to get rejected right here. I'm telling you the future here. This is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong, so we'll see. But this is what I believe. This is my main idea. And there's a little bit of, this is my main idea 1.0, and I can have a main idea like 2.0. But they're basically the same thing. They're just at different levels, and we'll talk about that too. But essentially, we're comparing this kind of to what XRP did, right? We came back up here, and then what are we going to do? We're going to flag out for a long time, right? It could be a month. It could be 2 months, right? And we can flag out, and we can come all the way back down to like 99 cents. And it would still be incredibly bullish. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's going to be more of a long, like kind of like a bull flag situation. And then maybe create a little bit of a base here, maybe stabilize. And then have that little roundabout that we always talk about, how it kind of has, it's kind of like a reverse cup and handle, how you have your cup here and then your handle here, but it's not really a handle, it's more of a base. And then what do? We break out. So that's the main idea here for altcoins, and I'm just using Theta as an example. So, and what this is going to do is it's going to allow more time to pass. Why is that important? Because look at this, guys. Now we have a big base here, and this big base is going to coincide with, look how big that base is, by the way. And now I want you to compare how big that base is. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can because I want to get this video hopefully under, I don't know how long, but definitely not an hour like I usually do. So you can see that base right there. And let's look a little bit closer here. Look a little bit closer. And you can kind of see the same thing. Let me see. Yeah, right there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom! 7. And then what did we do? We shot to the upside. It was a little shot, but it was big at the time, and it was big compared to the drawdown, right? So then what did we do? Well, you guessed it. We flagged out. Then we're flagging out, right? And then what did we do? Then that's where we broke out. So if I had to imagine where Theta is, and you translate that today, I'm thinking Theta is somewhere right in here. So we got a little bit more correcting, maybe hit the high, and then we got a flag out here for quite some time, right? And then you can see the big breakout here. And that big breakout was a big breakout, okay? And the big breakout came from this size of a base right there. Okay, so look at the size of the base. That's what gave us the big breakout. Okay, now look at the size of this base. You see what I mean? That's why I'm very bullish, guys. Now, this is just an idea. I could be totally wrong on this, but based off a lot of other things, right? And we'll talk about those other things as well. You know, there's a lot of bullish confluences that far outweigh the bearish ones. Now, there are bearish ones out there, so we have to kind of balance them and see which ones have more probability. And from what I'm seeing, the bulls have more probability. Especially because, look, we've been correcting for 150 days. This whole thing is one wave. I mean, this thing is 150 days down. Down, 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 down. So nothing goes down forever. You're going to have some kind of retracement here. Now, I'm expecting the bottom to be in, and I'm expecting this thing to come back up to the retracement levels. Now, the thing is, that's where the real problem lies. Well, it's not a problem, but that's where the real question lies. That's the $1 million question. That's going to be the most interesting point, because that's going to be like, okay, do we break out, or is this the retracement over and we got more down to go? Now, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I have a hunch that we're going to break to the upside. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. Always be prepared to be wrong, because we just don't know, right? But that's what I'm believing. And so far, ever since I started this channel, you can go back to the first Theta video, was right here at 64 cents, and basically saying the bottom is in and get ready for a retracement. And ever since then, that's when we had this big rise. I didn't want to start making videos when it was boring and depressing as we're going down, because nobody's really going to be interested. So I felt like, okay, that's a good time. And now I'm coming out again and I'm saying, I think this is a good time to really start, showing my bullish colors here. So I think, even though I'm macro been bullish, right? But for me, that's sort of the main idea. So another idea could be something like this, where we actually get have a third wave, we pull back just a little bit, and then we get that fifth wave, and we actually break above the bull market support band. This would be actually a little bit more bullish. And then you can see the bull market support band actually coming down like this, and then it starts to round out like this, and then it starts to go back up. And then what we do is then we start to flag out. So instead of flagging out down here, right, we're flagging out up here. So we're coming up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we flag out a while. The bull market support band rounds about, we catch it, we hold it as support, and then we continue to pump to the upside. So those are kind of, you know, main idea 1.0 and main idea 2.0. And the main difference is where we flag out. Do we flag out here or do we flag out here, right? I mean, we could flag out both. I mean, it just really depends. But essentially, you have the sell side of the curve right here, and then you have the bottom right here, and then you have the buy side of the curve right here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Sell side of the curve. And now it appears to be the buy side. Now, this doesn't go straight up, right? Because you basically have to respect the curve here. So what we can do is basically get a curve line, and I don't usually use this often, something like this. And let me try to fidget with it a little bit here, right? Just to kind of give you a representation of it. Now it's subjective. I can be over here, I can be over here, but we want it to be a little bit symmetrical. Okay, so, and you can see every time we came down, we moved away from it. We got close to it, we moved away from it. We got close to it, right? And now we're moving away from it. Then we're going to get close to it again, right? This is another reason why. We want to build confluence in our assessment. Because if I have an idea, well, who cares? Anybody can have an idea. Anybody can say what they want. But do you have evidence? And then you show the evidence. Okay, do you have more evidence? Here's more evidence. Okay, do you have even more than that? You know, the more we can provide, the better confidence we have, the more we can sleep better at night, knowing our positions are, you know, having that conviction of upside. Even though there should be zero doubt in your mind, if you're a hodler. Now, this is more so if you're kind of trading in and out, but also for hodlers as well. Because if I'm a hodler, 100%, which I'm not, I'm 100%, you know, I'm 90% hodl, 10% trade, right? That's kind of my philosophy. But most people don't want to deal with trading, right? But anyways, we come back up, we flag out, we hit the buy side of the curve. We come back up, we're getting back into this incredible resistance and the retracement levels around that 618, 702 area. Probably pull back again here a little bit, right? Getting that curve rounded out. And then you basically get back to the top of the curve. And then what could happen? Well, depending, if this goes up quite fast with no pullbacks, what we could get is maybe a little bit of a handle here and then break out, and it would be a massive breakout. So, I mean, we're here not even in September yet, and I'm out looking at almost towards the end of the year. I'm kind of visualizing what we can see here. And I've never presented this idea until yesterday. I presented this idea yesterday. Yeah, I want to talk about more so about the the strategy involved here. So, but since I'm trying to make it a very fast video, I'm going to condense that time more for the strategy for a members video. I will get it out, I promise you. I'm trying to do at least 2 member videos a month. I think that would be a good thing there. So, and if you're interested in that, you can just click join, and it definitely helps the channel out a lot. So I that's always much appreciative. It does take time to do. So yeah, let's keep rolling here. So that's sort of the main idea. Now, what if it's a bearish idea? Well, I don't really see any bearish evidence yet, but even if it is bearish, what I'm expecting here is we kind of flag out a little bit. We maybe hit the high here, and we get rejected right in here. So this is going to be the area, which is at about $1.90. If we can't get above $1.90, then, you know, we're probably going to have to come back down. And I still think, you know, the bottom is semi-end if it is the bearish idea. I think it's just going to be a longer sort of thing. We might even flush this low a little bit and then kind of work our way out and then kind of play around here, sort of like a semi Wyckoff pattern here, right, where we actually break the low, you know, kill all the liquidity or all the longs here that think the bottom is in, but then it's not, right? And this would only sort of work if we're sort of, our nation is under attack with a deep state event, right? Where this is an election year. I've always saying, keep vigilant. We got less than 75 days until the election. Something's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but something will happen. I don't know if it's a cyber attack, a terrorist attack, a financial crisis, a depression, a recession, a stock market crash. I mean, there's so many things that could happen. And none of those things, right, have a direct impact on crypto. It's not crypto related. It's not because Theta is weak and nobody's using it. It's not because Bitcoin is weak and nobody cares about it. No, it's because markets, it's all about liquidity. It's all about pumping the veins. You know, think about the economy as a human body and think about the different organs as different asset classes. If your heart isn't pumping enough liquidity, and by the way, the heart is not a pump. People think it's a pump. It's actually a valve. But just for this argument, you know, it's pumping through your veins. You need enough blood to get to those vital organs to keep them healthy, right? So anyways, that's kind of the bearish idea. And then also another bearish idea would be more bearish than that. And I don't even like entertaining it because there's no reason to, but just to give you an idea, I would expect this to come up in 3 and then come down fast, come back up, get rejected here, and then just keep moving down. And then we would probably end up breaking this low here. But there's a lot of support here. What it would most likely be very fast. We would come down here, circle back around, and then continue higher. It's not going to last long, right? And I'll show you an example of that kind of in MATIC. Now, here's an example. So look at this right here. I want you to pay attention to this little thing right there. Right there. Okay, now look at this. Okay, now look at MATIC. You can see what MATIC did. That's the same area right there. Boom. And what did MATIC do? It came all the way down. It broke it here. And now it's coming up like a vengeance. And people say, why is MATIC going up so much? How come, you know, this isn't moving up so much? Because MATIC broke the low hardcore, right? Theta never broke this low. So it's got, basically, MATIC was too oversold. And that's why it had like a slingshot, a snap back to reality, right? And what am I expecting for MATIC since we're looking at MATIC here? Well, it's kind of the same thing. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what usually happens. 7 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 waves. Is it 7 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 waves, right? Usually 7, and it's basically 5, but I'm counting the subwave of the third. So we get up here to the bull market support band, and then we start flagging out. So this is going to be a wave 1, and then we're going to come down in a wave 2, and it might come back down. And so again, I'm not buying right now. I'm not buying MATIC. I'm not buying Theta. I'm not buying any of them. You know, this is not the time to buy. This is the time to wait. We don't buy the top of a wave 1 because then you're going to have to hold through a wave 2. Now the problem is though this wave one can get pretty big. It can get way up here, and then you're going to wish you would have bought. But that's kind of the thing. You got to kind of weigh out what you kind of want to do. And I think we'll talk somewhat about that in the member video as well, coming up with a strategy on how I can sort of, you know, play both sides without getting too, you know, because the worst thing is missing out. But then even worse than that is losing money, right? So it's kind of like you got to weigh things out here. But that's why if you hodl, you know, it doesn't really matter, because eventually we're going to win. And so for MATIC, again, we're going to flag out. This is going to come around, and then we're going to get back up here. Here's your sell side of the curve, and this is hopefully the buy side of the curve, right? This is a big pump, okay? We haven't seen that. So you can see this is a correction. These are little tiny pumps. This is a massive pump. That's kind of how you know what's going on here. And then also you can see, look at this wick. This is a pretty big wick here, right? So you can say, well, we had a wick here. Yeah, but it wasn't followed through with this big pump, right? And then you can say, well, what about other altcoins? They didn't get this big of a pump. But we don't need all of them. We need some of them. The more the merrier, but as long as we have, you know, a good amount that gives us the confidence that the bottom is in, and I believe the bottom is in. So we'll, you know, time will tell. But look, here's another reason. Look at this trend line here. I'm not really big on trend lines too much. I mean, they're very, very important. I know that, but you know, you guys can draw trend lines, so I don't really need to do that. But yeah, you can see right there. I mean, major trend line, right? And that's partly too why we had that big sort of pump to the upside. So a main idea here for MATIC would be, and I've always talked about this too, is a triangle, right? And where do triangles like to show up at? In fourth waves. And what is this? 1, 2, 3. Look at that. It's a 4. So that's exactly where it should be, right? It's like, are you going to find a grizzly bear in Africa? No, that's not where it should be. It should be in Montana, right? I mean, I saw one of those, by the way, when I was in Montana a long time ago, visiting some relatives. We were in a restaurant in the mountains, and we came out, and there was a grizzly bear like near the dumpster. And I was like maybe 10 years old, and I stuck my head out of the window, and one of the waiters walked by, and he grabbed my shirt and he pulled me back in, and he said, "Are you crazy, kid? Are you trying to get your head bit off?" And I was just fascinated, because I never seen a bear before. But anyway, so I think this is a triangle, and inside of a triangle you have, oh, that's not right. We need this one here. So we have 3, so that's an A. We have 3 up, that's a B. We have 3 down. See, here's where it gets tricky, because I want to say this is C, D, and E, but that can't be right. So I don't really like it as a triangle anymore, because then what we would have to do is actually do this. And this might be the actual count. It might, but the thing is, it's a little bit big here. So something like that, right? Where we kind of come up in a 3 wave, and then we come down 3, and then we go up. Something like that, right? And it will be very big. It's going to be a big breakout. So that's kind of the main idea here. Another idea is that, you know, you had a WXY, there's your bottom, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your wave 1, and then you have a wave 2 pullback. So here's your wave 1, here's your wave 2, and now this is wave 1 of 3. So we're gonna flag out, and it's gonna be big. We're gonna get up here, hopefully break this liquidity, and then find, some, correcting a little bit, flagging out again, and then have that big extended fifth wave to the upside that turns people into millionaires, right? So there's going to be a lot of millionaires if we get a big bull cycle like people think. So, and even if we don't hit that $1 million mark this cycle, I know a lot of people aren't going to be millionaires, but it's not about being a millionaire. It's about sticking with it, right? Because crypto is the only vehicle on planet Earth that can give you access to being a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not even close to being a millionaire, but that's sort of, what everybody aspires to be, is trying to have as much money as you can so that you can have time freedom. Because it's not about money. It's about freedom. It's about time, right? If I can spend less hours working and more hours with my family, then when I die, I know I had more time spent with them than doing something I don't necessarily like doing. But even though I do like doing this, I find it fascinating. But for most people who work a job, they would rather be fishing. They would rather be, watching baseball, or I don't know, whatever. So it's not about being a millionaire. It's about having the freedom to do what you want when you want without having to deal with whatever job responsibility you have, right? But sometimes that could be a bad thing, because then if you sit on the couch all day, it's not really healthy. You got to get up, you got to get moving, get that blood pumping, get those endorphins rolling. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm thinking here with MATIC. I'm already at 26 minutes. Let's see. I mean, you guys already know how long this video is. As I'm recording, I don't know. So we'll see. But let's look at SHIB here. We'll circle back to XRP and to Bitcoin as well. So kind of the same thing with SHIB. I think is very bullish. I know a few people asked about it. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing, right? You see the bull market support band curling over. Oh no, it's looking terrible. And then what's going to happen? I would imagine we would pump a little bit more, right? I think next week should be bullish. Maybe a little bit of a pause, but I'm thinking we're going to get up here. Somewhere 1743, somewhere around there. I hate coins that are like 1/100ths of a penny, because it's so easy to say, yeah, it's 20 cents or it's $100, but I have to say 0.00001603, and it's like people forget what it actually is. So, but anyway, we get up here, and then we basically go into a wave 2, right? So let me zoom in and let's get a little bit more detail on what that could look like here. So 1, 2, 3. Maybe we get 4, maybe we get 5. Even if we get 3, it's okay, because even XRP at that time got 3, right? And then we come back A, B, C, and it might be a big retracement too. That's why we want to get as high as we can, so the retracement isn't so killer, right? So if I put a retracement on and I go, say, right there, look at that. The 618 gets us all the way back down here, which is a pretty big drop, right? And a lot of times they like to go even lower than that. Sometimes it's 702, right? Which would break this low here. But, something healthy, and this is not just for SHIB. This is for, like, if I go to ADA, watch this. It's the same thing. It's basically exactly the same, right? So, there's not really much point to looking at every single altcoin, because a lot of them are basically the same. ADA, it's getting a little bit extended here. Let me put this right here, and I'm going to drag this along. There we go. So as soon as we hit that would probably maybe be a good area to take a little bit of profit. Now, this doesn't mean touch your hodl position. This doesn't mean that, right? basically taking profits on your trade here, if you were in a trade for ADA or whatever. And then, right, we pull back. Maybe we do some kind of flag here, right? We back test this area here, because here's your base right here, right? We broke out of the base, but we never came back down to back test the base, right? We got to back test the base here. So theta's 40 cents. We could drop all the way down to 33 cents. And that would suck for a lot of people. Why? Because a lot of people, right, everybody who bought there would be underwater. That person, all the people who bought here would be underwater. All the people who bought here would be underwater. All the people who bought would be really underwater, right? That's why you don't buy things like that. Now, a lot of times, or some of the times, it could turn into something much, 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 much bigger, right? And it very well could be. But here's the thing. If you're a trader, you don't want that. But if you're a hodler, it doesn't matter if you bought here. It doesn't matter if you bought here. It doesn't matter if you bought here. It doesn't matter, because eventually, right, if you're buying a wave 1 or a wave 2, you still got to ride the wave of wave 3 and wave 5, because those are going to be your biggest waves anyway. So most people are positioning themselves in a wave 1, wave 2, right? Now, you need a 5-wave move to be considered a wave 1. So 1, 2, 3, let's get 4 and 5, right? And 5 might be even bigger. And this comes back to the other the main idea 2.0, where it's so bullish that we actually break above the bull market support band, right? And then it starts to curl around right here, and then we kind of flag out down here, right? And now we have all of this support in here, shoulder, right, to continue the price higher, right? So this would be the more liberal approach. Flagging out down here would be the more conservative approach, right? But either way, I think it's going to happen. Now, here's the thing, though, right? You always make up the difference, because if we pump up here, we're going to have a bigger correction, meaning more time. If we flag out here, it's going to be less time, but it's going to be a less of a wave 1. So it's kind of like it kind of balances itself out over time. I think that's it for ADA. Go back to SHIB real quick. Yeah, same thing for SHIB too. I mean, basically they're all the same. So in some kind of way. The only ones that are a little bit different is XRP, right? Now, when we look at XRP versus Bitcoin, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Obviously, when we get back above the bull market support band, you can see we're driving to the high. We're not flagging, we're flagging up, right? Which usually we kind of come down. So we're getting bearish divergence here. So this could be A, B, and C, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get A, B, C, reset on the bull market support band, and then continue higher. But if Bitcoin has a big breakout to 100K, we could see a double bottom, right? We could see a double bottom, or we could just see some oscillation in here, like a big base, right? Something like this, and then go, right? Some kind of Wyckoff maybe, or, so we'll see. But I think that's coming, the big move to the upside. So here was my drawing from yesterday. I never touched it. I saved it actually. So even if I delete it, it'll still be saved. But that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Worst case scenario, we have to go sideways for a bit. And then by the time January kicks in, right? And you could say, well, wait a minute. I thought October, November, December is bearish or bullish. Why would we be going down? Well, because look at this. So you can see kind of comparing this area here to this area here, right? You can see January was green, February was green, right? March. I mean, they're basically lined up perfectly, right? So what is the statistical probability of that continuing to trend, right? I mean, that's pretty fascinating. So that means September should be green, October should be red, November should be red, December should be red. So if we get red October, red November, red December, then we should get a very powerful green January, February, March next year, right? Which means we could see some kind of flagging out motion in here, right? So that's kind of what we would expect to come down. And then once January hits, we fly, and then we probably flag out again like this. So the bull market support band would come around like this, and then it would start to curl back up like that, and then we would test it, hold it as support, hold it, right? And then explode, something like that. And that could be even a big 1 2 1 2 here, right, before we go higher. So a lot of people think the bull market should be over by the end of the year, but then you have other sides that think no, it's probably going to be more like September of 2025. So I'm kind of split. I really want to see the next 30 days here, and it'll kind of give me an idea of how long we have. Now, more time doesn't mean it's better. It just means we have more time to play with. But hopefully we do get a little bit more time. That way it allows things to catch up. I'm just not sure, how the election will play into it. There's still it's a big jigsaw puzzle, and we're all trying to figure it out. So basically, one more idea would be something like this. And I think BCB shared the fractal, but essentially we kind of go sideways in here. So we come up, we got rejected in here. We're still not out of the woods yet, guys. This could still be 1 2 3 4 5. We could still have another low, right? That's always the fear, and that's, Ethereum kind of looks like it might potentially need that. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 A, we have 1 2 3 B, and then it looks like 1 2 3. Maybe this comes up 4, we get rejected here, and then we come down for 5, right? And then we blast off, and then we flag out, and then go. So that's kind of the idea, right? That would be another idea. And now I don't know how that idea really would translate to alts. Honestly, we would get up here. I don't think, it's possible we could break the low with Theta, then come up, then flag out, then go at a later day. But, I just don't really, I'm not so sure about that. Anything's possible. This could be a shoulder for all we know, and then we get the head, and then we get the shoulder, right? That's why it's hard. You just, but we have to kind of rely on other things, and other things say that's not really likely, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. So again, here's a fractal that BCB shared. I thought it was very interesting. Deserves to be shared. But you can see what happened here with Binance Coin, how we had this, three-way move up, right? We came down, and then we came back up, right? And then what did we do? We came down, right? And then here's the part right here. I like blue better. So right here, you can see what BNB did. It came down. Actually, let me zoom in even higher. So you can see this move. See how it went up in 3 and it got rejected here? And then it came back down in 3, but it never broke the low. It maybe slightly did right here, but essentially what we did was we Wyckoffed, and then we came up 3, 3, 3, and another 3 here. So we basically were oscillating in here, and then we broke out, then we back tested, then we continued higher. So if we translate that to Ethereum, or it was actually comparing it to MATIC, damn, look at MATIC. It's still pumping, guys. dang, I was looking at it too. I had to be very choosy with what I got. So I missed it, but you know, maybe if I'm going to get it on MATIC, I'm going to get it on a pullback. I'm not going to buy it now. Hell no. I learned my lesson so many times, you don't even know. So, always be patient. Always be patient. The market will come back. But essentially, when comparing that, we would come all the way back down in 3, come back up in 3, come back down, and then break out. So we basically would create this box right in here, right? Which would be pretty bearish for between now and the end of the year, basically consolidating in here, right? Basically going into accumulation. So kind of like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. But I'm not sure. You know, again, I want to see how the next couple of weeks develop. So, and then it'll give us more of an edge on what we can expect. Okay, so talking about all the ideas we just talked about, how does that translate into Bitcoin? How does that translate into Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is a lot higher than most of the alts, so it doesn't have that much further to go to actually break that liquidity. So what I'm expecting here for Bitcoin is if we translate that idea, right, the Theta SHIB idea, right, where we come up here, we flag out, and then we break out, something like that. Well, then we have a shoulder, we have a head, we have a shoulder, we have the measured move here that gets us back to the 618, and then we kind of consolidate. Remember the buy side of the curve, kind of pull back again, and then continue higher, right? Sell side, buy side. Okay, so when we go to Bitcoin, trying to do it fast because I'm running out of time. I'm already at 40 minutes here. So we get up here, right? And then we can either, there's two ways it could happen. We get up here to the resistance, right? And then we flag out here. And then the bull market support band kind of wraps around. We hold it tight, and then we continue higher. That would be idea number 1. Conservative. Something like that. Basically, right? And then this would be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, something like that. And then we go into distribution, right? And then we start going down. And then the alt season would happen somewhere in here, especially on a retracement. If we come down and we crash hard and we retrace, a lot of times it happens very fast. So that's idea number 1, something like that. And then when we translate that to SHIB for a second, you know, is that enough to break us out of the all-time high? Well, it would pretty much have to be a kind of like a straight line like this. So, you know, it's we'll see. The other idea is, this is the idea I actually prefer. The other idea is what I think is going to happen. This idea is what I prefer. So if it happens, then I'll be pleasantly surprised and I'll be happy to be wrong. But this is the idea where we come up and then we break the top. We break the top pretty nicely, and that's your wave 1. And then we flag out. We flag out at around above the all-time high, kind of below the all-time high. This pulls back, and then we go. So basically the main difference is one breaks the top, one doesn't. But the big risk is if we do break the top, and we do come back below, we sort of don't want to do that, because then it's going to look like maybe Wyckoff distribution. So it's kind of like maybe not. It'd be kind of better to just break above it, get far away from it, and then flag out, and then go. So yeah, that's it. Okay, let's do a little bit of rapid fire here if we can. Monero, I'm still thinking Monero. I don't even care about Monero, but I don't own any Monero, but I'm thinking something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get up a little bit higher, then flag out in here, and then go. So that's what I'm thinking with most of the coins. Someone said to look at Litecoin. By the way, Tron, all-time high. No, not yet. Wait, let's see. No, not yet, but it's getting close. This is a good thing, right? We have a cup, we have a handle. And it looks a lot like XRP in a way, right? So if you look, here's XRP, or here's Tron, rise, crash, retrace, come down, reaccumulation. We go sideways here, and then look, we're breaking out. By the way, Theta Fuel, I haven't been given much love lately. I know, I'm sorry, don't be mad at me. But, you know, it's really it's really for Theta. I mean, that's what it's really about. But, I mean, Theta Fuel is still very bullish. It's actually... So here's Theta Fuel zoomed in here, right? And you can see same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? We come back up to the bull market support band, let it curve out, let it flag out. You know, if we look back 6 months from now and this turns out to be true, I mean, you gotta hit that subscribe button. By the way, I think this is the case. I think that I'm really, you know, I don't want to seem like cocky or arrogant or someone who thinks like, oh yeah, I know this, I know it's gonna happen. I hate those type of people. There's a time and a place to do that, but with when you're talking about charts and investing, nobody really knows, right? I mean, nobody really knows. We're basically doing an assessment and we're trying to figure it out. So, but yeah, if 6 months from now, if we look back and it turns out to be true, it's going to be pretty good. Not just because it was true, but because, you know, we got higher prices, which is good for our portfolio, right? So yeah, Theta Fuel, exactly the same as everything else I've been talking about, you know, and we have this diag here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We broke out, we sort of back tested this area in here, and now we're starting to creep back up impulsively. So we flag out and then we continue higher. So I'm thinking this thing's gonna get between, you know, we're gonna, if we break 15 cents, you know, we're on our way to 40 cents, between 23 and 40 cents. And then that's where the real test becomes, is what happens in the retracement levels, you know, for Theta Fuel. Because it's pretty easy to anticipate down here. It's going to be harder to anticipate up here, unless we have a lot of velocity that gets us out of there quick. So that's it for Theta Fuel. Solana, haven't looked at Solana in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it looks exactly like Bitcoin. A, we have a B, we have a C, we have a 1, 2. This could be 3. And then we need 4, 5. But I think it's going to get up here and then flag out a little bit for a 4. So we'll see. Okay, so here's Litecoin. Litecoin is a little bit interesting. We have a rise, a crash, a B wave retracement, and then we come down into reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways, and then eventually we're going to break out. I mean, it's basically like XRP, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking here for Litecoin. It could also be a triangle, right? So you have A, B, C, D, and E, right? A, B, C, D, and E, a contracting triangle here. And this is the last leg of E, and we're about to rocket ship. So those are 2 points of confluence. Another one is there any bearish ideas here? Well, yeah, there is. I mean, this could be 1, 2, 3, and then here's 4, and then here's 1, 2. We're going down for 3, 4, and 5. So this is A, B, C, and we still have 5 more waves to go on Litecoin before we come up, flag out, then break out. So I mean, that could happen. But I wouldn't put too much emphasis on it, especially what happens over here, right? Because right here we have 1, 2, sort of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're flagging out. I mean, look at that. We're flagging out here, and I want to see it break out, and I want to see it flag out again, and then break out. So that's kind of my main idea here for Litecoin, bullish idea. So all right, that'll do it for this video. I made it to about 50 minutes, so I saved 10 minutes. Not so bad. I'm doing a little bit better. We'll keep it going. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Hopefully everybody found it useful, helpful, entertaining, not financial advice. Have a great Saturday, great rest of your weekend. I'm gonna put the member video out probably tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about the weekly close and a couple of different strategies on how to play it if you're interested in that. So anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.